Well, hello, boys and girls. Yeah, I'm Pearl of Wisdom, and you're listening to my NHL Pearls of Wisdom. Hello, Lauren Weichel. Welcome into the live stream. Who's not making the playoffs? I don't. I think we got a ways to go yet before we figure that out. But there's certain for sure's. Arizona is certainly not making the playoffs. That's for sure. That's pretty much a for sure. I don't think you could get any more of a for sure than Arizona not making the playoffs. That, but besides that, there's a lot of coin flips. Like you mentioned on my, you commented there a little while ago on my last video saying that Toronto. I think it's a coin flip whether Toronto makes the playoffs or not. Um, it really kind of depends on what Montreal is. Which Montreal going to be? On one side, you've got Montreal is, they lost a few players, and that's going to be tough. But how much better is Kokaniemi and Suzuki going to be next year? Probably better. Caulfield for a full season. Not a big fan of the Hoffman signing. He doesn't really move the needle all that. I mean, he's basically a power play specialist up until now, and they paid $4.5 million for him. I think they're hoping he's another Tenorti this year, but Toffoli, but he doesn't play a game like Toffoli at all. Like Toffoli goes hard to the net. He plays fairly good both ways. He can provide a lot of stuff outside of just scoring, where Hoffman doesn't really provide much of anything but scoring. So, yeah, I would have to say the Chicago. I mean, as long as you got Fleury and he's healthy and he's playing at the top of his game, he certainly could. They certainly could make the playoffs. I still am a little skeptical of the Jones thing, but then on the other side of the coin, Chicago is going to play a type of game that's going to fit Jones' game a lot better than in Columbus, I think. They're going to be able to play. He's never going to be a great defensive defenseman. But he could be a lot better offensively. And on Chicago, he probably will get a chance to do that. They'll allow him to rush the puck and all that kind of stuff like that, and that's what he wants to do. Well, that's interesting, Lauren. I think it has more to do with the fact that Carolina has a certain amount of money allotted for each position. And if you want more than that, you'll have to go somewhere else. That doesn't mean they don't want to win the cup. New Jersey could win a cup. Why couldn't New Jersey win a cup? Tampa Bay won a cup last year, and they had some pretty big tickets on their roster. I mean, if you didn't want to care about money at all and win a cup, you'd just sign for league minimum and go to Tampa, right? But I don't know what Carolina was offering, but my guess is somewhere around $5 or $6 million a year, and somewhere around there, $6 million maybe, probably max. I could be wrong about that. I don't know. I'd have to know how much he gave up to go there. How much did Hamilton give up to go to New Jersey? It's hard to say. Yeah, that was a decent signing. Like, I like a lot of the signings that Toronto did. I don't know how all of them are going to turn out, but with limited cap space, they picked up some players that could turn their careers around coming back from injury, like Kasha, late bloomers, guys like that. And they're just hoping that one or two of them at least pan out, and then they've got some depth on their in their forward position. But getting Mrazek, I think, kind of quelches whatever happens there, to tell you the honest truth. Kind of quelches it all. Yeah, so I mean that's a lot of money. How long did they want to give him the 8 years? What was the term? Uh, Probably somewhere in the middle there at 6.5. That's what 2.5 times 8. That's a lot of money. 16, $21 million. Hey Jay, how you doing? That's a lot of money to not take, man. I don't know. Yeah, I watched a little bit of Olympic stuff this year. I mean, I'm not a huge Olympics person. I watch tennis. Uh, it's kind of exciting to watch it. Yeah. No, well, Peter Mrazek's numbers aren't good when you consider the defense that he was playing in front of. No, I don't think it was very good. I How do I say that he wanted the money more than a cup? I mean, New Jersey's a pretty solid young team there. Looks like it's heading in a really good direction. Fitzgerald hasn't made a bad move since they hired him. They've got Blackwood, who looks like he's a humdinger of a goaltender. Uh, you know, who's to say that they're not going to win a cup there? And to tell you the honest truth, if I'm looking at it with Carolina, I'm thinking, he may be looking at it going, how is this team ever going to win a cup without a goaltender? They're rolling the dice pretty good with Anderson and Ranta. Uh, so maybe Carolina never wins a cup. If you're not willing to spend on a goaltender, let's say that Anderson does well the next 2 years. He's going to be a free agent, and he's going to want Grubauer money, and they're going to be like, oh no, we don't pay our goaltender that, and they're looking for another goaltender again, and another goaltender again, and another goaltender again, until they can find someone who wants to play for less than their value. I don't know. Have fun with that. Yeah, they have Jonathan Bernier. I think that was a great move too. I think Carolina totally dropped the ball there. Next year, Carolina might look really bad by letting Bernier fall through the cracks. So you watch what the Devils are going to be next year. I think people are going to be very surprised about what the Devils are. They've got a lot of breakout players right there right now. Sharon Govich, Hughes, Wood, nice pickup of Graves. Yeah, they still need some depth, but give them a couple of years and they could be. Give them a couple of years. I mean, just because maybe not this year. To tell you the honest truth, if you're asking me if the Canes are going to win the cup next year, I'm going to say unlikely. Unless Anderson's got to show me he's not injured. And then we'll see what he does in behind that defense. I never saw Anderson. I mean, it's hard to tell because he did play in front of a poor defense in Toronto. And it was tough. So if he's not injured and he can play, he might be able to play at a level, certainly a level better than Mrazek. They might have a chance. But until I see it, I mean, you miss a whole entire year with injury. Yeah, I don't think Grubauer broke the rule. He was just doing whatever the team wanted to do, but I guess they just fixed it. So yeah, the Devils will definitely. I'm pretty sure the Devils will be better next year, for sure. Just the signing of Graves, just the trade for Graves alone, and Bernier alone. Never mind the improvements that they're going to have from their young players, for sure. Now you're saying that the Leafs will make it to the second round. Okay. If they win the cup, Anderson will get that money. All right. Well, I hope so. Like I said, they must know something about their injuries that Toronto doesn't, because otherwise Toronto should have been signing them up. I'm not sure if he wants to play with Chicago or if he just, he's such a nice person that he just worked with his family and said, he's one of those guys that I'm thankful to be in the NHL and somebody wants me, and, whatever the situation is, we'll work it with our family. I made a lot of money, and, it just probably seems not respectful to the league that's given him millions to not go to Chicago, at least for 1 year. Now, I'm pretty sure they're going to try to sign him for more than 1 year, but he's a free agent next year, so he can go to Pittsburgh if he wants. Well, we'll see what happens. Evander Kane denied the allegations that his wife said. The way he denied it was funny, though, because he said, "I have never bet on my team to lose." I think that's what he said. Let's look it up here. Uh, did you guys see that? I could have swore I saw something where it said Evander Kane denied it. Now I can't find it. Oh, there he goes. Evander Kane denies gambling. Accuses Sharks forward of being a compulsive gambling addict. That could very well be. Who has thrown games to win money in a separate post. Unfortunately, I would like to address the complete false accusations that my estranged wife and soon-to-be ex-wife has made against me. Even against the advice of my legal team, I feel strongly that the public and fans hear this directly from me. I never gambled, bet on a Sharks game, never gambled, bet on any of my games, and never threw a game. The facts are personally had my best season of my career last year and was the most consistent I've throughout my season. So I'm proud of that. So Evander Kane came out and said that he didn't do what she said. So we'll find out. Yeah, I think that might have been part of it. But it wasn't just that move. Like, it looks like they're somewhat going for it in a way. Probably, I would say also that there might be some issues with Lankinen that they believe somebody like Fleury would be able to help them out with. Because Fleury is known for his positivity and all of those sort of things like that. So maybe Lankinen was having confidence issues later in the year. Maybe it's conditioning because Lankinen did seem to start to slip later in the year. So it could be a conditioning issue. It's hard to say, but it's pretty huge value to any team to have somebody like Fleury in the room, especially with a young goaltender like that. So even if it's for 1 year, I think it's worth it to be able to for Lankinen to be able to rub elbows with somebody like that. Yeah, I think he'll be likely back with the Penguins. What's that? Oh, well, if you're going to get a prenup, you might as well not get married. Prenups usually end up in divorce. It's like 90% or something like that. So probably don't get married. Be with somebody forever probably is about the same thing, but find a girl that believes that, I don't know. Anyways, why am I going into that? I think that's the way I'm thinking that's the way he's looking at it, is that it's only 1 year, getting paid a lot of money, and then he's a free agent and he can go wherever he wants. So he was just hoping he could stay in Vegas till the end. He wanted to stay in Vegas the whole time. He would have been loyal to him. He's a great guy. And I think Vegas looks bad in this situation, honestly. I really do. I think this situation makes Vegas look pretty bad. I would be questioning now, like if they're trying to sign free agents, I'd be really questioning whether, I want to do that after what they did with Fleury. No. From what I've read is that the doctors, the doctors want to have Buffalo doesn't want Jack Eichel to have the surgery. The doctors want him to have the surgery and say that he will recover from the surgery if he has it right now by the start of regular season. But this surgery is something that's never been done before, because it's like way top of the line, the right word? It's cutting edge science. And Buffalo does not want to take a chance with this cutting edge science. Now, I've been meaning to read more about this because I have two questions. Apparently, Buffalo is preventing them from going to get the surgery. Now, the question is, how are they preventing them? If it's just because they won't pay for the surgery, then that's one thing. Because then Eichel should just go get the surgery, and then he's going to want to get traded anyways. So, go get the surgery and then wait to get traded. And then, he's made enough money. He can do it on his own if he really wants to. But the other question is, and I haven't been able to find out, is it that if he goes and does the surgery by himself, then I would have to think that it's because Buffalo won't pay for the surgery. Or is it that Buffalo won't accept the surgery? That's the thing I haven't got figured out yet. But if it's because Buffalo won't pay for it, I kind of go on Buffalo's side on this one. Because They have their doctors. They're going by their doctors. Eichel doesn't want to go by their doctors. He wants to go by his own doctors. If Eichel wants to go by his own doctors, and Buffalo's doctors, whom they pay, are saying that they that they don't agree with the surgery, then I don't really blame Buffalo for saying, we don't support the surgery, so you'll have to pay for it yourself. And that I don't mind that. Like I said, I haven't read. I want to read more about that aspect of it. I want to read more about that aspect of the surgery. Is it about who pays and who's liable? That's the other thing. If Eichel does the surgery against Buffalo's wishes, and then comes back and has complications, that Buffalo now go, well, we can terminate your contract because we told you not to take that surgery. You did it on your own, and we can now terminate your contract. Those are all the things that maybe are going on there that I don't know. Yeah, like Lamoriello always does. He'll wait to the last. He'll wait to the end and see what happens. Apparently, they are going to sign. I just read it today. Oh, what's his name? Why do I always forget his name, and why is he not on the list here? Where's their unrestricted? Oh, I guess their rights wouldn't be in here. What's his name that they picked up from the Islanders last year? Not Palmieri, but I always forget his name. Starts with a Z. I always want to call him Zaka. It's not Zaka. Zajac. Travis Zajac. Travis Zajac. It sounds like they are going to sign Travis Zajac. Yeah, Lou's never in a rush, so. Travis Zajac, yeah. Let me look up, because I heard that Eichel's agents released some more stuff. Eichel's agents released statement. If it wasn't already clear, Buffalo Sabres and Jack Eichel are on opposite sides of the situation when it comes to, well, pretty much everything. That became all the more evident Friday evening when Eichel's agents, Peter Fish and Peter Donatelli, released a statement. The process is not working as previously stated. We fully anticipated a trade by the start of the free agency period. After the agreed-upon prescribed period for conservative rehabilitation lapsed in June 2021, it was determined by the Sabres medical staff that a surgical procedure was required. Oh, it was the Sabres medical staff? The recommendation by Jack's independent neurosurgeon, other spine specialists consulted, and the surgery Jack feels most comfortable with having in order to correct herniated disc in his neck is to proceed with an artificial disc replacement surgery. A further point of concern is that our camp was initially under the impression that the Sabres specialist was in agreement with the artificial. So apparently they did agree to start off with. What is left out of the discussion is that Jack would be able to play in the NHL for the start of the season pending medical clearance if he were allowed to have the surgery he desires, even as of this date. Repeated quests have been made with the Sabres since early June to no avail. This process is stopping Jack from playing in the NHL, and it is not working. Okay, well, how did that go? Like, that doesn't really tell you much. So the doctor says, and I've maintained this all along, the doctor has continuously said that he will come back fine, he will be perfectly okay, there won't be any problem at all. What do you mean would have? It happened, Grubauer to Seattle. How you doing, Rickett? Welcome, man. We haven't been exchanging picks in a while. Kyle, how you doing, buddy? We're talking about the Eichel situation. Is it camp starting soon? It's in September, isn't it? Kyle, we're talking about the Eichel situation. I didn't see that go with the podcast. What exactly did... But I heard that Jack, like over and over again, the doctor that's supposed to do the surgery says that he can come back and be perfectly fine if they just allow the surgery. What I don't understand is, why do you have to allow the surgery? You're already going to get traded. You're not going back to Buffalo anyways. Who cares what they think? Just go get it done. Yeah, you're going to have to do it on your own dime. This sounds like they're waiting for Buffalo to pay, and that's what I don't understand. I can understand if if the doctors for Buffalo are saying that they don't think the surgery is necessary or good or whatever the case may be, that's their prerogative. So it sounds like to me that Buffalo just doesn't want to pay for the surgery because they know Eichel wants to go anyways. Whatever the reason is, they don't have to pay for that surgery. And that's what it comes down to. And maybe they're saying, oh, is it in the CBA? So what about it in the CBA? So if the team doesn't agree to the surgery, he can't get it because the team can veto he's under contract with Buffalo. So he has to do what Buffalo tells him to do. That's why. That's why they want to get traded first. I gotcha. I think he can be a dominant goal. I think he can be dominant, Lauren, for sure. That's Allmark can be dominant. He certainly has the skill to do it. And it's going to be interesting to watch because, I mean, when he was in Buffalo looked way better when he was in net. Hey, Sejan, how you doing, man? Good, how are you, Sejan? Sejan? Huh? It will not be in English. Boston Bruins, I don't know. I can't see them having enough to get Jack Eichel. The question here is now, and it has been all along, a team has to believe in the Eichel's doctors in order to trade for him. They have to believe that the surgery is going to go that well, because Buffalo is not going to trade him to a team that's going to be like, well, we don't know how he's going to be. Well, then don't get him then. You got to know, you got to know. And if he's going to wait till after the surgery, then, Eichel's going to have to wait. And, the agents can jump up and down and complain all they want. But the problem was, again, Buffalo has to okay the surgery. So if they're going to trade him anyways, just okay the surgery. You're going to trade him anyways. You're not going to keep him. So just okay the surgery, whatever. It don't matter. You're not liable, I don't think. I don't know what all the legal ramifications of all of this is, and I think that's the most difficult part for me. Yeah. Marc-Andre Fleury is going to play at least 1 year for the Hawks. I mean, if let's put it this way, if I'm a general manager and my doctors talk to his doctors and they come back and say he's going to be perfectly fine, it's not that big of a deal, all that kind of stuff like that, he's going to get right back to where he was before, I'm making the trade. I mean, you just, for the slight possibility that he's not going to be, to get a player like Eichel, like, they just don't come around very often, man. If he was on a team like Vegas or, say, Boston or whatever the case may be, the points he would put up would be just stupid. Like, he's an incredible talent. I'm very confident if he's perfectly healthy, he can put up way better numbers than he did in Buffalo. Way better numbers. I don't know how much salary cap they have left. I think it's quite a bit now that Krejci isn't coming back. Pretty sure. Oh, no, it's not. It's only $1 million. Wow. Yeah, it's not quite a bit. They certainly wouldn't be able to get Eichel, that's for sure. Yeah, that would be pretty much impossible, but Eichel going to Edmonton. That's about it. I don't think Arizona would take him back. That's the thing. I just tweeted out something there before the show. Basically, it said Columbus Blue Jackets have come to the conclusion that Ty Domi is not a good fit for them, so they're looking for a team that has worse center depth than them because they have awful center depth, or as bad, and is completely ignorant of the fact that he hasn't been a fit anywhere since he got drafted. Like, I don't know what this guy's all about, but it's quite obvious he annoys the crap out of everybody. Well, and I think Chicago is in on that, but they're not trading Kirby Dach. That would be interesting. I think Minnesota's pretty happy with Foligno there, though, and he's pretty happy with to be there. Why would you pick up Taves? I don't know why Buffalo would pick up Taves. That'd be silly. I'm doing. It better be one. What prospect would that be? If I'm gonna get a okay Taves, I'm practically doing Chicago a favor here. So the first with Eichel on that team is probably not going to be that low. I wouldn't. I mean, Chicago might be offering that, but I can't see Buffalo touching that trade. 100% Dork. Holy crap, buddy. How you doing, man? Yeah, Jack Eichel would get more points in on pretty much any team, I would think. Are you having stream freeze? Maybe I got to take some stuff off here. Let me see. Take that out, take that out, take that out, take that out. Oh, okay. Hopefully that's just his problem. I'm doing pretty fantastic, dude. It's starting to slow down. They say slow down in hockey, but it never slows down for me. Subban will go to Seattle next, as in Malcolm Subban or PK Subban? Which Subban are you talking about? PK or Malcolm? Ooh. Why? I don't. No, I doubt that. Why would you say that? Yeah, no, I don't think. I think there's still lots of stuff out there to. There's always stuff out there to talk about. I mean, this Eichel situation will keep us going for a long time because I don't think it's going to get resolved anytime soon, to tell you the honest truth. Yeah, why would you want to do that though? I don't know. Subban, why would you want PK Subban? He hasn't played well for his money. So you can retain this year and get a pick from him or something, maybe? Oh, Subban's gonna have to take a pay cut. Considerable pay cut. He better have one crushing year because he's not going to be getting much on the open market, that's for sure. When will there be more trades? Usually there's a bit of a lull here. A lot of general managers now take holidays in August. Take 2-3 weeks. They'll still answer their phones. Why am I yawning so much? Crazy. They'll still answer their phones and stuff, but usually there isn't much trades in August. But watch out for September. I imagine there will be. There's some teams I think that, I don't know, they got assistant general managers too. I guess it would depend how much they trust them. Sometime in September more. You'll get a lot of signings and stuff. There's still a lot of players out there that teams will be looking at to be able to get, but I don't think you'll see too many trades now. Yeah, restricted free agent arbitration. Uh, who was going for RFA here? I'll look that up. Oh, there's more talk here about Eichel. The Rangers and Golden Knights are among the teams that are still interested in Sabres' Jack Eichel. Brooks suggested that Buffalo retaining salary might be enough to get New York to part with top young assets like Capo Caco in a deal with 5 players left on the contract. Retaining would be a sizable cost for Buffalo and may not be something they want to do. I wouldn't be doing it. Meanwhile, Vegas GM Kelly McCrimmon mentioned earlier in the week that he expected the team they have now is what they'll be going into training camp with. As we've seen in the past, they're willing to make big moves. Yeah. Still regarding Eichel, Mike Harrington of the Buffalo News Post, his agents released on Friday isn't going to help the trade process along, as GM Kevin Adams won't want to acquiesce now and create any appearance that statement forced his hand. While the clock is ticking for him to have the artificial disc replacement surgery that he's seeking and be ready for training camp. Sabres doctors won't sign off on that and are pushing for a standard fusion surgery, which carries a longer recovery time. So that's what they're doing. They're pushing for a standard fusion. They don't want to take the newfound replacement surgery. They want a standard fusion surgery, which will take a longer recovery time. Yeah, Tyler Bertuzzi finally did sign. I kind of figured that was some sort of contract squabble type stuff, just trying to get if you don't come down, then we'll trade you type thing. Foligno apparently is fully recovered from his back surgery. The Red Wings will use Luke Witkowski on both wing and defense. Okay. Okay, that doesn't really mean. Wait 1 or 2 days. I think a lot of teams now are like set, and they're just going to see how their young players work out. Their system, the young players in their system work out before they start making trades, but which prevents the teams that really want to make trades from doing anything, because they'll want to wait for those teams to really establish what they need. So it's probably going to be a while before we see a trade. Just 1 second. Hayes and the Kachucks are related, really? I didn't know that. I thought, how would they be related? Must be like distant cousins or something like that. I haven't heard anything about what's going on, like what that whole thing that was going on where uh, O'Brien from Sirius Radio said that he thought that Kachuk Matthew wanted to go to St. Louis. But he also said that he believed that that Barry would never go to Edmonton, back to Edmonton, and Barry's back in Edmonton. So, oh yeah, yeah, I do remember that. That was pretty crazy. The Leafs are talking to James Neal. Ugh. That would be like league minimum, I would have to figure. Because James Neal is like a power play specialist and not even all that special at that right now. He's got to be one of the most out of shape NHL athletes that there is. He might be trying. I don't know. That was probably maybe Calgary's worst contract ever. The real deal, Neal. Yeah. Yeah, he never got along, and he never got along in a room well. I don't know. I'd like to know what his lifestyle was like, because from what I understand, in the summer his workout regimen was pretty much golfing. Jordy Ben will probably be a free agent. Jordy Ben might even be a tryout candidate, but I imagine somebody will sign him to a league minimum somewhere for depth. He hasn't. I mean, it's going nowhere but down for Jordy Ben now. Ah, uh, here, in my pocket. Phil Kelf, no, he's a better fisherman than he is a hockey player, I think. His love is fishing, fishing, fishing. The pic of the movie theater in Kessel's house is hilarious. Oh, really? But apparently he fishes like crazy. Like, he fishes all summer. That's what he does. I think he's a freak of nature. Like, considering that what I've heard about how little shape he keeps himself in, like he does, like he, I don't know how he manages to do it. Like anybody else, pretty much, if you're in this league, if you don't come to camp in top shape, you're gonna not have a very long career and probably not gonna do well. But he's like a freak of nature. He just keeps on going and going and going. It's crazy. It's unbelievable. Oh, it's just one recliner. So he doesn't want anybody but him in there. is, did Phil Kessel ever get married or anything? Is he still single? Oh no, he's married. I don't know if he's married. Okay, my wife feeding Kessel hot dog at the game. No, that's not it. I don't think he's married. I didn't want pictures. I wanted. Why are they giving me pictures? I don't want pictures. Oh, that's weird. It keeps on giving me pictures of Kessel, but nothing else. Phil Kessel Wiki. What's going on? How come it's all pictures? Huh. Oh, that's why, because I got it on there. There you go. Oh, okay. Mitch Marner's getting married? Personal life. Oh, he's also an avid poker player, Phil Kessel. He plays at high stakes tournaments and stuff like that. I didn't even know that, and I follow poker quite a bit. He prefers to play pot limit Omaha. He's cashed 6 different World Series of Poker tournaments. And he's good friends with Daniel Negreanu. But yeah, he's not married. Isn't married and doesn't look like he's ever had children, so. Oh. Yeah, Brendan Manella, I don't know how he's going to turn out. He hasn't looked very good in Minnesota up so far. But, I mean, again, they're just grabbing as many guys that are on the fringes of the NHL and hoping that 1 or 2 of them turn it around here. I love poker. I love poker. I think it's a great game. I like No Limit Hold'em, but I haven't had time to get into Omaha and all that kind of stuff like that. No, I'm not a fisher guy. I don't fish now. I'm not big on fishing. I don't have the patience for it. Sit there doing nothing. Well, it's not nothing. For people that love it, it's great, I guess. I hike, though. I like hiking. Gary Mayhew, yeah, he's great. He has great offensive numbers in the AHL, but when he comes up, he can't seem to find a niche. He can't play in your bottom 6. He's got to play in your top 6. He sort of looks like a guy that's just not quite good enough to play in your top 6 on a regular basis and is not good enough to be in the bottom 6. So he's sort of a tweener. Those guys usually end up playing in the AHL a lot or going to Europe, but we'll see. He's small, right? He's not a very big guy. Yeah, well, I want to live in Vegas. I want to live in Vegas. In the winter time. I only want to live in Vegas in the winter time, though. I don't want to live in Vegas in the summer. Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I do not want to live in the Vegas in the summer, man. That's brutal. Yeah, it depends on when you get those 100 points, though. Like, if you're really young and you get 100 points in the AHL, eventually you'll probably be a pretty darn good player. Like, even a point a game, it all depends on the style. I mean, there's lots of guys that can, there are not lots and lots of guys, but there's guys that are point a game players in the AHL, and they go to the NHL and they can't find because in the AHL, if you're not as fast of a skater, you can get away with it. It's not as fast of a game. So if you got a killer shot, you can, and also if you don't have much size, but you have a little bit but you have enough speed to get into the spots where you can shoot, you can score a lot more like quite a bit in the AHL. But if you try to do the same thing in the NHL, people have the speed to catch you. And then if you don't have the size, they'll just knock you on your ass. You know, where you can be big and score quite a bit in the AHL, but if you don't have the legs, if you're not really that, if you're an average skater, you come up to the NHL and you don't have the speed to get to those spots, even though you have the size. Defensemen beat you to it, as they like to say. They beat you to the puck a lot more. Yeah. It's weird. It's like different games. Guys, some guys get their goals by crashing the net, and they have enough speed to do that in the AHL, but if they try it in the NHL, they don't. And they're bigger and they're stronger and all that stuff like that. He's the fastest skater I've ever seen with the puck. You know, the closest would be Pavel Bure, I think. With the puck, he's the fastest guy in the NHL. I think there might be guys maybe as close to as fast as him without the puck, but with the puck, he's insane. Like, the moves he makes at the speed he's at, like, I've never seen anything like it. Best all time, like I said, besides maybe Pavel Bure. But even then, I still think Pavel Bure was more shifty. He wasn't as much of a power guy as McDavid is. McDavid just like puts defensemen back on their heels and just blows past them. It's crazy. Never seen anything like it. Now, that's true, though. You can get 100 points in the AHL and maybe not even get 60 points in the NHL. Rare, though. There are some guys that did do that. They got 100 points in the NHL and they didn't. And then, like, a lot of them are smaller players, too. They don't do great in the NHL, but they usually play somewhat. I'm trying to remember a couple of them off the top of my head. There was one that played with Tampa Bay not too long ago. And he usually found his way into the NHL for like at least a couple games a season or maybe 20 games. But his name escapes me now. But he was a smaller player for sure. And he just, he couldn't play. He played big they tried to put him on the fourth line and have him go up against other fourth liners where he could use his speed to score points and he'd get like 10 minutes a night. and play mostly 5-on-5 on the fourth spot. And it worked. Like, he did get a lot of chances and stuff like that, but I can't remember what his name was. He was getting a point a game a season in junior. That's it. That's not that great. No, yeah, he put up some huge points in the AHL. He looks like well, I mean, that kind of point production could be ready next year. He was like a point and a half a game or something like that. Jarvis was, yeah. There's another guy. Sterling was his name. Something Sterling. I think he played for Chicago, Atlanta. I think he played for Tampa Bay and the Islanders. He put up some pretty huge points in the AHL, but could never make it in the NHL. And he was a small guy. Jarvis will go back to juniors to bulk up. I mean, he'll destroy juniors next year. I guess it would depend on how bulky he is, because that's the only thing holding him back, is he's got to get physically up to speed before he can he's got to get physical maturity. And I could check now, but even whatever it says now, he could be bigger now. You know, that they're going to be trying to put the pounds on that guy. But skill-wise, he's probably ready already. Especially playmaking and all that kind of stuff like that. Anyways, we got to go doggy time here. So I'll be back in a little bit. Thanks for coming on, guys.
Greetings. This is Steel Flyers from the Steel Flyers All Sports Network, and we have two very special guests. We are delighted to be joined by Tracy Musser and Nicole Howard from the Canine Country Club Resorts. Tracy and Nicole are both managers for CCC Resorts and work at the Windsor or at the club, one of two locations both in Manheim, Pennsylvania. Congratulations on your 30th year anniversary of being in business. Let me start off by saying this. Steel Flyer stands behind this company 100%. Taking care of Steel Flyer's furry friend for the last 2 years now, and they are a one-stop shop for everything your furry friend needs. In fact, let's find out what our friends at CCC Resorts offer. Nicole, how are you today?
Good. How are you?
Doing great, thank you. What are some of the great boarding services that you guys offer, and what do we have to do in order to get our furry friends taken care of when we are unable to travel with them?
Well, we like to bring everybody in for a tour first. That way they can see the behind the scenes, they can see where they stay, they can see where they play, and then we explain all of the fun things that we can add on to their reservation, whether it be one of our packages, either a nature walk, a ball time, or even a cuddle time.
Oh, wow, that sounds great. Boy, it sure sounds like a resort to me. So how are you today, Tracy?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Tracy, tell me, is it true that you guys have both an indoor and an outdoor pool at the Windsor location?
It is true. We've got one of each, so we're able to offer year-round swimming. The indoor pool is a great option for dogs who are swimming for therapy or rehab. It's got that sloped entry so they can wade into the water. Our outdoor pool is a little bit larger, and it's 4 foot deep the whole way across. And both of them are saltwater pools, so it's really easy on the dog's skin and coat.
Wow, that's very awesome. So then during the summer months, you have a much deeper pool outside and then a sloped entry shallow pool indoors for the dogs. Tracy, tell the folks how we can get some pool time.
Well, the first thing everyone does is come for an intro swim. We use that time to make sure the dog is comfortable in the water. We make sure they know how to get out of the pool safely, and we go over all the pool rules and etiquette with the clients as well. After that, they're able to schedule private appointments where they have the pool to themselves, or they can invite friends and have a whole group swim going on.
So after a dip in the pool, then it would have to be off to the groomers, right? I mean, our furry friends cannot go out looking their best. Nicole, what are some of the great services your top-notch groomers provide?
Our groomers, they specialize in full service grooms. We can do the basics, whether it be just a bath and a brush out or a blowout. Or for the extra pampered pooches, we can do nail dremels, we can do deodorizing soaks, and also facials.
Wow, man, that sounds like a resort if you ask me. Tracy, I know one of the main programs here at CCC Resorts is the WAGS program. The Steel Flyers dog is enrolled in this program. So why don't you tell the folks what is involved in this and how they can get enrolled?
Yeah, the WAGS program is our primary daycare option at the Windsor. It's designed to be a structured program for people who are looking for a set routine for their dog. They all come on the same days each week, which allows them to have set friends, and we know exactly what's going on with each group. So we do a little bit more activities and we build more into their daily routine there. But we've got other daycare options as well for people looking for a little less commitment. We do an hourly care where you can drop them off and just pay by the hour. We also do a day stay option, which is great for the dogs that prefer human friends instead of making friends with other dogs. And then we have a traditional daycare option as well if you're looking for the occasional outing for your dog.
Wow, there you have it. A full service groomer, a daycare program, and an indoor and outdoor pool. What more could you ask for? Sure seems like CCC Resorts has everything covered. Remember, DOG, depend on God.
Hello. Okay, we're back. Oh, I forgot to shut it all down. Anyways, you probably could hear in the background. Oh, well. Whatever. We are back. He played for New Jersey? Who played for New Jersey? Is that Sterling that I was talking about? Played for New Jersey? Possibly. I'm not sure, but I don't remember him playing for New Jersey. I suppose I could have looked it up during the break. Nick Ritchie didn't take stupid penalties last year. I don't really know why. I thought he had a pretty good year last year, but I don't know what goes on with. There's like how many reasons. There's so many reasons why a team doesn't go on with. Did he play with Sterling? New Jersey? Okay. There's so many reasons that a team doesn't go on with a player that I think are on ice, not on ice related. Because I thought he actually played fairly well last year, but we'll see how he does in Toronto. I do know if he can. I mean, if he plays as well as he did on the ice last year, he's probably going to help Toronto quite a bit. He is big enough and all that stuff like that. He did have a problem with taking bad penalties in Anaheim and his first year in Boston, but last year he did well. Everyone in the chat mode is a mod, yeah. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with the algorithm here in, I should probably see if I can figure that out. Like, I don't understand why the algorithm doesn't bring in new people. It doesn't make much sense to me. Like, I got a live going right now. Let's see if they have. Yeah, it's got all the. Yeah, I don't understand that, but whatever. Yeah, we're a little ways from that. 100 active viewers, that would be friggin' awesome. 100 concurrents. So tell all your friends. Let's grow this thing. Not only that, if we get up to 100 concurrents, maybe even before that, but if we can get up to even 50 concurrents, we could probably start looking at prizes and actual prizes that we can send you I know we're going to be looking at some swag that we're getting into. If you can get some Perlo stuff or whatever. But I would say, like, if we can get to 50 concurrents, if I can get up to 1,000 followers, if you look at my videos, people, like, I get quite a few views compared to some people with a lot more subscribers than me, but people don't subscribe to me. I don't know why. Two active viewers, concurrent viewers. I know. The Rangers are making progress on an Igor Shesterkin contract. Two sides making progress on agreement that'll be $5.7 to $6 million per season. Evidently, those discussions have gone well enough without needing to put the pressure point of hearing in place. The 25-year-old was drafted in the 4th round. So they're looking at this point, and Georgiev, I don't know if he's asked to be traded, but if you're going to sign Shesterkin to, like, I don't know, he's 25 years old, so like 6 years for $6 million or something like that, then if you're Georgiev, you kind of got to go like, what? Yeah, I know, it's weird. I like some guys, they don't get very many views, but they get tons of subscribers. And then I never really understood it myself, how it all worked. I stopped trying to figure it out. I just do what I enjoy, and that's it. But Shesterkin looks like he's going to sign a $6 million a year contract. So I'm thinking Georgiev will probably be traded. I mean, if I'm Georgiev, I don't really think it's a good idea. He's still young, so he probably is going to want to get a chance at a number 1 somewhere. I don't know if he is a number 1 from what I've seen from his numbers, but at least go somewhere where you can have a chance, because he won't play much with Shesterkin there. I don't know where are there still teams looking for goaltenders out there? Oh, that's Arizona. That would be probably where I think he's going to go. That's my bet, is that Georgiev goes to Arizona. That would work out perfect for everybody, because he could be a number 1. There's nobody even close to taking his spot. His numbers are going to be absolutely horrid, but he will be playing with McDavid. You don't need to worry about that. That is a for sure. Hyman will be playing with McDavid. The bad part will be is if he doesn't have good chemistry with McDavid, but I think he likely will. Yeah. Yeah, that was a weird situation. Now, it sounds like it was blown out of proportion, but I mean, the Rangers didn't make any statement about what happened there. All they said was he would never be back again. I have a feeling that D'Angelo had more than one warnings or whatever about whatever was going on or doing or stuff like that. And then when you take into consideration that he got traded from Arizona when everybody was like, what? It seemed like pretty likely that there was something going on there. So we'll see how he is in Carolina. But for $1 million to give him a shot, like, he's got to mind his P's and Q's now. No, that's the thing. I mean, yeah, I did a video, and if you look in the comment section, you can go to Toronto and what I said about their free agency. And I actually, kind of liked like Bunting and those guys that they picked up. A lot of interesting guys there that could reclaim their careers and end up being like great value. But Mrazek, to me, it doesn't really matter with Mrazek as your goaltender. He's old enough now that you should know what you're getting with Mrazek. Well, apparently he said something pretty brutal to the goaltender, whatever it was. It wasn't racist. But he said something to Georgiev or something. I don't know what it was. But apparently it wasn't racist. It was, but nobody knows what it was, so it's hard to say. Yeah, I don't think that had anything to do with it, to tell you the honest truth. You think, like, Carolina is any different? No. Oh, I guess actually it is different, isn't it? Because Carolina isn't Democratic. Yeah, so yeah, I suppose. But yeah, I don't think that had much to do with it. Maybe I'm wrong. Because it could have something to do with it, because Lemieux was all part of that. Who else? Who else did they trade? Not Buchnevich. There was another one too that they traded. I think Philadelphia, even with all these moves, it doesn't matter unless Carter Hart hits it out of the park. If Carter Hart doesn't get back to where he was or close to it, I don't think all these moves mean nothing. Yeah, and I don't know if he was loud and obnoxious or what he did. I do know that he had a podcast. I'm pretty sure most organizations would kind of frown upon someone making it like a big deal, whatever political side they're part of, I would imagine. Yeah, that's an old one, Sean Patton. Well, I mean, he can't really push the envelope too hard, I don't think, after last year. I don't think contracts are going to be that big of a deal. My guess is like a 2-year 2.5 or something like that. Uh, yeah, I just think it really comes down to that. Now, the question is, obviously they put a lot of money. Philly put a lot of money in their defense this year, so they have to imagine that defense might have been an aspect of it. Maybe they thought it was a complete part of it, but he has no excuses now, sort of. At least with Ellis there. The thing that when I look at Philadelphia and what happened there as a whole was that it looks like Hextall was right by not wanting to play Carter Hart yet, and wanting to go that direction. So now we're going to see what this new idea is going to be. Like, when you think about it, do you still put Philadelphia as a cup contender now? If Carter Hart is like acing it, maybe. But, I mean, they still are fairly thin on their D-line. They don't have many prospects that can jump in. And, you know, a lot of things have to go right for Philadelphia this year. Yeah, I don't know what kind of talks are going on there with Darlene, but you don't hear any mention of it at all. Yeah, no, he was. Like, that's the thing. It's just chalk it up to a down year, but a lot of young players struggled last year. Young teams struggled with this whole COVID situation. Thing I find interesting is AV said that basically Hart has to work harder. He's out of his own mouth. And then when you take those words and you also realize that Carter Hart's biggest problem was on the road, whenever you see whenever players on the road have difficulties consistently on the road, it's usually because they like to go out and do things that they're not supposed to be doing. You know, and that means they're more tired for the game, or, you know, their head's not in it, or whatever. Yeah, well, I on paper anyways, it looks like they definitely have some serious improvement there on defense. Well, just with Ellis. We have to see what Ristolainen's going to be. I mean, that guy's got all the freaking tools. It's just his development in Buffalo, I don't know. He was just all over the place. They couldn't harness the guy. If anything, he's over-aggressive in certain areas of the zones. He puts himself out of position, sort of like yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they're watching him quite a bit. He's going to have to come in with a different mindset this year for sure. Also, I mean, when you think about it though, he did poorly on the road. However, he wasn't able to go anywhere. So I don't know. Maybe it really affected him to not be able to hang out with people and, you know, be introverted in his room and all that kind of stuff like that. Yandle, a 40-goal season. Oh my gosh. That would be something, since I don't think he's ever come close to that before. 40 goals against, yeah. Yeah, it was abysmal. That defense was abysmal. And you think it had Carter Hutton in goal on top of it. Wow. Pretty brutal. So yeah, his analytics, Ristolainen's analytics took a kick in the last couple of years. We'll see what they obviously think they're going to be able to get something out of him more than he can hit. If he hits, he's really good. He's got a great shot. He's got moves. It's just putting the mental part of the game all together with his physical attributes. And that, when I say just, I mean, that's pretty big. But I think in the end, I don't know, like that, Philadelphia and Toronto, both of them, I'm really on the fence about this year. Who else? What other teams are you on the fence about this year? Yeah, but then when Granato took over, Buffalo looked a lot better. I'm glad they re-signed him. I don't know what took them so long. It should have been like immediately. Like they totally changed in there. Yeah, well, you're not a big fan of AV, are you? Andre Cache, yeah. Uh, it's just injury problems have plagued Andre Cache's career. So, but that's what Toronto's doing is they're kind of throwing darts at a board. They're finding the guys that had injury problems but were good before. Guys like Richie, who had a decent year last year, but before that didn't play well. Late bloomers like Bunting. They're trying to find as many of those guys as possible and hope that, 1 to 3 of them can break out. I'm still going to say Pittsburgh makes the playoffs. I mean, I've said it the last 2 years and been wrong. I still don't understand how a team with Jari as a goaltender and some of the defense that they have there makes the playoffs. If they make the playoffs this year, finally Sullivan should get a coach of the year because he would definitely deserve it. I still think Ottawa misses, but yeah, I know what you mean. They did so good in the second half last year that, in a way, it's kind of hard to go against them. I still think they're too green, though. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what makes them think that Jari will be better next year. Maybe like some players were much more affected by the COVID than others mentally or whatever. Possibly that's it, but I mean he's got to make a big jump to be considered an NHL worthy starter for sure. Maybe even NHL worthy in general, to tell you the honest truth. Uh, I thought maybe that Chicago was going to try something with trading Fleury for Jari and a couple picks or something. Although Winnipeg doesn't really, or Pittsburgh doesn't really have any picks. Well, yeah, I guess. If all their new players get hurt, I guess you could say that just about any team. But Mrazek gets hurt a lot too. So if Mrazek gets hurt, then you're back to the situation you had before with Campbell, and not much as a backup. What's his name? Huntington, who hasn't played very well. He played actually not too bad last year. I was surprised. I think another on the fencer is Minnesota. Like, they lost a lot of solid talent there. So Kaprizov for $13 million. That was the other thing. Somebody just sent me something that Kaprizov is going to be signed to a $13 million contract. 13, maybe even 13.5 for 8 years. So he's really pushing the envelope there. Because he's threatening to go back to the KHL for $13 million for 8 years. That is a lot. And that makes me believe that Minnesota, Kaprizov, $13 million for 8 years. Somebody sent me that before the stream. A friend of mine that is a big Minnesota fan. I don't know. Let me see if I can find it again. Michael Russo. Hearing the Minnesota Wild and Kirill Kaprizov are closing in on a 13.5 AAV contract extension for 8 years. Michael Russo. So Michael Russo's, you know, $13.5 million. $13.5 million. It was Michael Russo that said that. He can get away with it. Look at, I mean, Panarin got 11.5. I don't think he had put up a 100-point season yet. Well, McDavid's a long ways away, but by the time he gets another contract up, he might be up in that. That's what we're looking at for contracts here. They are pushing the envelope everywhere. And Minnesota, I mean, he's got Minnesota by the short hairs, really. What's Minnesota going to do if they let him go? Like, they got to trade him. And then, I mean, see, players can put teams in a bind pretty hard right now. If they say they're going to trade him, oh my gosh, the fan base is going to lose their mind. But he can, who's going to pay him $13.5 million? Like, there's a limited amount of teams that are going to be able to do that. So that takes away the leverage that you have. I mean, who's gonna sign him? Maybe New Jersey. Ottawa's not paying him $13.5 million. Detroit possibly. Jackets. The Jackets would. Sure, but what are you gonna get back? There's so few. His value would be so low, because if you're Columbus, you're like, I'll give you a first, Tessier and whatever, Corpusalo and something like that. And they're like, well, we're not doing that trade. And they're like, well, go find somebody else that's going to pay you $13.5 million for that guy. So they go to Detroit, and Stevie Y's like, well, I don't know if I want to give that much to one player. He's not that type of guy. Anaheim would probably be in on it. Anaheim would probably be in on it. But, you know, what kind of a battle can you get going here? Anaheim's going to be like, okay, I'm going to take a lucky guess here and say that Minnesota didn't really offer you all that much. So we'll give you... Yeah, and that's the thing is you end up biting the bullet and giving the guy the 13.5 because if you don't, the trade you're going to get back puts you behind for another however long, you know? So it's a very difficult thing to do. The guy's kind of got you by the balls, but I guess the good part about it is you could take money back, right? So if you did want to trade him, and he's a winger too, right? So like somebody like LA might get involved. They could really use a winger there. He'd have to play really well to get $5 million, I think, Nick Ritchie, after really not hitting the ball out of the park the last few years and being an older young player. He'd have to really hit the ball out of the park. Yeah, and then you're back to the same thing again. So you're looking for the player you already had. If you do get Savoy or Wright or all that, eventually you're going to have to pay them that kind of money too. So, yeah. I mean, Panarin, I was surprised. Nobody really said much about that Panarin contract. And when he signed that contract, it was huge. This isn't all that much different. That was just like 2 years ago. Yeah, but does Columbus have to give up that much? If you have a good fight going, then maybe it'd be all right. Maybe they would. If you get LA and Columbus and Detroit fighting over him, you might be able to get some. But the whole point of the whole thing is what you're looking for is Kaprizov. Like once you have a guy like that. Now, unless you just make a team that's scoring by committee like the Islanders do, but what has happened with the Islanders? They haven't made it past the semis the last 2 years because they can't score. Man, it's tough balance. Making Bobrovsky, Panarin, Kaprizov making over 10 million or 10 million and more. Eichel, Matthews, Marner. Is that what you're asking, Lauren? Price is making over 10 million. Well, it depends how good he does last year. I think with the Leafs, they're just taking her 1 year at a time. Who else makes over 10 million besides McDavid? Oh, Russian winger over 10 million? A Russian player? Panarin, Kaprizov, Bobrovsky. I think that's it. Ovechkin. Draisaitl is not over 10 million, and he's not Russian. I think that's it. Kuznetsov is 8. They have a lot more leverage because they can go back to the KHL. Kuznetsov did it for sure. In fact, the manager at the time, which I think is still the manager now, said, "What do you want me to do? He's going to go back to the KHL. I got to pay him or lose him." Patrick Kane, I think both Kane and Taves make somewhere around there. Yeah. I think, yeah, both Kane and Taves make over 10 million. Who else? Pasternak will probably make over 10 million his next contract. McKinnon will certainly make over 10 million his next contract. Blues, Jets. I think that's it. Pretty sure that's it. Those are the only ones making over 10 million. Kopitar. Kopitar makes 10. Doughty, yeah, Doughty makes 11, I think. Oh, Carlson. Carlson in San Jose, we forget he makes 11.5 because it's a god-awful contract. Carlson in San Jose, I just thought about that one too. Now I think that's it. Pretty sure that's all. 13 million though, yeah. I mean, that changes the landscape of yeah. $11.5 million player and you can't get rid of him. Yeah, Boston could win a cup. I'm just a little concerned about Foligno. That would be my issue there. But I wouldn't want to play him overplay him in the regular season, but they might not have a choice because Krejci's not going to be there unless Coyle can step up or something. That would be my main concern. I think they took a step back up the middle offensively anyways. The only thing new in the Kane business is he denies it, that's it. He said it was going against the wishes of his lawyer, but he said that he never bet on a San Jose game. He never bet on himself to lose. And something else, like he said it wasn't true, so. Yeah, but that one in particular, Lauren, the Carlson contract, I mean, it would look crazy right from the get-go. Some big contracts you think, okay, that could work out. Like with Kaprizov, if he's a 100-point player, in the end of that contract, it might look kind of worth it, but or even in the middle of that contract, the way, because there's going to be more caps stuff coming up. And what's my issue with what, Bill? Oh, with with Foligno, I love Foligno. He's just getting older. He doesn't have the offense that he used to. That's all. He's not a guy that you really want as your second line center. Kyle Connor's another one. He's a 40-goal scorer. I mean, you got to figure he'll be looking in the $10 million range, and the Jets are, notoriously frugal. So that could be a difficult one. Apparently not. He did. I mean, Pete Rose, I think in baseball you're not allowed to bet. Are you allowed to bet at all in baseball on baseball? Or is it just your own team? Because he says that he didn't bet on his own team last year. You want Kaprizov's agent? Yeah. Kyle Connor will probably make $10 million. Yeah. What's nope? Kyle Connor gets $10 million? You can't bet at all in baseball. Okay. I think in hockey you can bet. You just can't bet on your own team or something like that. Do you think they should play McAvoy with Hall and Smith? Well, I imagine he will be. He plays half the game. What players do I think will get at least 100 points next season? Well, McDavid, for sure. With the way they're going, probably Panarin. I would say Kaprizov, but he doesn't have the center. But Kaprizov is so good he may not need it, but I think he needs a little better center to be able to do that. Connor McDavid for sure. I think he could get 150 points next year. He can have the all-time home run record, but you can't bet on a game. Yeah. Matthews, he'll probably score 50, I imagine. Marner will probably get 100 points. Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see how losing Hyman is going to affect Matthews and Marner. Which one is it going to affect more? Will it affect? Probably, I imagine, not being with Matthews, but he's gonna have McDavid. But he has McDavid and Puljujärvi. That's not the same as Marner and Matthews. Rantanen could be. Yeah, Rantanen would be an option. What about a surprise 100-point player? Huberdeau. What about Huberdeau? Huberdeau should get 100 next year, 100 points. You don't get into the Hoff, yeah. Yeah, I think Connor Bedard will make a little more than $10 million one day, unless something really weird happens. Huberdeau, I think, there's a pretty good chance to get 100 points. I have no idea. Desperation, I guess. How did Anderson get another contract? Beyond me. I wonder if Barzal is capable of pulling a 100-point season. He's got to step it up quite a bit offensively. Maybe not. I don't think he's got enough around him, Barzal, to get 100 points. Pasternak, but he doesn't get too many assists, does he? Or does he? You know what? I quite often, I don't pay enough attention to points enough. No, he was a point a game last year. 2 years ago, though, Pasternak got 95 points in 70 games. So that's more than a 100-point pace. And then in 2019, he got 81 and 66. That's a 100-point pace. Last year was actually an off year at a point a game. So Pasternak can do it. Zibanejad, has he come? He seems like a 90-point guy to me, but he could get one. Was he ever on pace to get 100 points? Or did he already get 100 points? Oh, yeah. He was on 2019-20, he was on pace for 100. Last year, though, he only got a point a game. I'm thinking that he's more of a 90-point guy myself. I think he had a killer year that 1 year, but he hasn't really shown consistency close enough to that. You think Nick Ritchie will get 50 points, really? That would be something. That certainly would make it a great move if he got 50 points. Well, now you're just getting silly. Connor Brown's not getting 90 points. What about Caulfield? I mean, that guy lights it up quite a bit too. I don't know if he gets 100 points next year, but I think he could get 100 points, maybe. But probably not next year. But it's going to be fun to watch that line of Caulfield, Toffoli, and Suzuki. Like, that is one slick line right there. You got everything you need in that line. Maybe not quite on the physicality department, but as far as all the skills are concerned, that's going to be an incredible line. Watch out for Lafreniere next year, too. I don't think he gets 100, but I don't know. He could take off any time. He looks like he could be pretty darn solid. The Rangers are going to be insane. What about Peterson? Peterson, I don't know what happened last year, but Elias Peterson's only 22, and he had a point a game in 2019-20. He's a guy that could approach 100 points sooner or later. Kraken players that might have breakout years off the top of my head. I think, yeah, when Yanni Gourde comes back, if he's given a full opportunity to be a number one, but he's injured, so we'll have to see how that. But if he wasn't injured, yeah, Jared McCann. If Jared McCann gets a full opportunity to play without anybody like stopping him or, blocking him, he had almost a point a game last year. I don't know what this guy does to piss people off. Like, he had 32 points in 43 games last year, and Pittsburgh just threw him aside like he was nothing. traded him for like what, a second or a third or something like that. And then Mason Appleton, he really put a lot of offense up from the fourth line last year in Winnipeg, and sometimes moved up the third. I could see him doing a lot better than people think. As far as forwards are concerned, Carson Soucy played in a 5-6 spot in Minnesota, but should get an opportunity for top 4 minutes here. His expected points is way higher than his actual points. So that could be a guy that could be kind of breakoutish. No, 32 points. I don't know what is with that guy. I don't know what it is with that guy, but he seems to rub people the wrong way or something. Yeah. Soucy is lefty, but I believe he's capable of playing both sides, if I remember correctly. No, he doesn't say that. Shoot, I was thinking of Fleury or Lauzon. They're both capable. And Vince Dunn. So Soucy, yeah, probably would be third pairing then. Which is too bad. No, I was wrong. He doesn't play both sides. I thought he did. But it was Lauzon and Lazon and whoever else I said. I was looking at the wrong thing. Yeah, if Talbot can keep it up, it looks to me like he can. I don't know. I like Alexiak, but to tell you the honest truth, if you look at Kraken's defense, the problem I see here is guys to be able to get the puck out of their zone. Alexiak is pretty good at it, but Larson's not. Soucy, I think he's okay. Probably because his expected offense is good, so. Hayden Fleury's not good at it. Jeremy Lauzon is, And then Vince Dunn was supposed to be, but he did absolutely horrible last year. So is it underrated? Depends on how people are rating it. I would give it Soucy. I would give it a C+, maybe. Somewhere around there. So am I underrating it? Yeah. Okay, guys, that's my full 42. I'm going to be back here tomorrow night. I don't know about you guys, but this was a long weekend for me. I got a meeting at 5:30, I believe, and I got to go some places with Caroline now. So you guys rock. Thanks for coming in. You guys are awesome. I'm here every day. It's awesome. It's very encouraging to have you guys here every day. And keep this ball rolling. I'll be doing some videos tomorrow, I think. One for sure. Might do it on the Eichel situation. So have a great day, everybody. Talk to you later. Okay, bye.